The first big changes of the season are here. On one side, two close friends join forces, Tello and Di Nenno. On the other, their two former partners team up, Garrido and Libaak. But I am the only one who thinks everyone wins here? Well, let me explain why. But first, let's understand who made the first move and why. Hello players, I'm Pablo and I welcome you to a new 4Set. This story has four main characters, Di Nenno, Garrido, Tello and Libaak. But each one got here in a completely different way. So let's start with Martín Di Nenno because he's in a totally different place now than he was a year ago. Back then he had been playing with Stupa for a season and a half, that was his dream project, and they were super close to becoming number one. Di Nenno believed in that project so much that he even turned down Ale Galan, an opportunity that Gato later jumped on. But halfway through the season, that belief hits its limit. So Martín decided to split from the Super Pibes and take a huge risk, play with El Lobo Lebron. It didn't really work out, but it helped him realize what he really needed, to go back to what once worked. So he called Garrido and they agreed to team up this season. Remember that Di Nenno already played with Javi back in 2019 and their styles seemed super compatible, but it didn't click. So things just didn't feel right on court, and even Martín explained it this way on his YouTube channel.
Estaba negativo, la veía negra, la jugada la veía negra. Digo, esto no van a ganar, están jugando mejor que nosotros. Yo no la podía meter en la galaxia directamente y no podía sacar fuerza tipo para levantar el partido. Pero a la vez decía, che, no podemos perder, o sea, si pierdo me mato. En un momento después ganábamos 2 puntos y decía, vamos, no, hoy no perdemos ni pedo, ya está. Y perdíamos 2 y decía, no, o sea, estaba volado.
And it is not just that he has had 3 partners in under a year, but also Martín worked with 4 coaches in that same time. With all that chaos, he needs to rebuild trust both in his game and his teammate. And who better to do that with than one of his best friends, Juan Tello? Because Tello is also a huge part of this story and probably the one going through the rough times. Ever since he split with Gato, he's been chasing stability. Because the project with Paco didn't work, neither did the partnership with Alex Ruiz. Then he joined forces with Bella in his final season and I'm sure he learned a ton, but the results still were not great. That is when he teamed up with Íñigo Joffre looking to play without pressure and just find himself again. Because Gato's problem was not physical, it was mental. He would lose confidence in himself and here's how he explained it.
No, que toqué fondo, no por los compañeros ni nada, mucho menos, por no encajar, por no creo que creer un poquito en mí, por no confiar, aunque seguía trabajando, ¿no? Pero sí que no la pasé bien, la verdad que no.
And honestly, nothing could be better for him than teaming up with Tello and Libaak this season. Because Tello is a humble kid, super driven, aiming for the #1 spot. They made it to quarterfinals, round of 16 and even semis this season. But after that semifinal in Chile, a message changed everything. Don't forget that Libaak is one of those young Argentinians called to reach the top. He shared the court in his early days with another rising star, Leo Asburger. Together they reached 2 World Padel Tour finals and made a name for themselves. But after splitting with Leo, Tino played briefly with Victor Ruiz until something similar to Tello happened. Bella called him. And not many can say they were the last partner of the GOAT, so Tino said yes. And here's the twist, because Bella's last 2 partners are now joining forces. But we are missing one more in this story, Javi Garrido, that is always in the mix to reach the top. Last season he started a winning project with Yanguas, but Mike left midway through the season. Javi gave it a shot with Alex Ruiz but didn't work, and then came Bergamini. He brought back his smile and helped him get solid results. But when it wasn't clear if they would continue, Javi took Martín's call and accepted the biggest challenge of his career. Because with Martín, Javi had to go all in, but it didn't go as planned. So once again, Javi's left without a partner and has to build a new project from scratch. Because in this 4-player story, Martín was the first to make a move and it triggered all the rest. So now, why do I think all of them are winning with these changes? Well, let's break down the strengths of each new duo. And starting with Tello and Di Nenno, the biggest thing is trust. Because Tello's confidence is on a whole other level now and he totally understands what Martín's going through. So what do you think about playing with a close friend who also complements your style? That's huge, right? They will already been trying to play together before and finally did at the Hexagon 2024 and won it. Another major strength of this duo, maturity. Because it is true that Libaak brought freshness to Tello, but when it comes to experience and competing, Di Nenno is on another level. Actually, Tello himself said it.
Y Martín, un poco la experiencia. Martín, bueno, tiene 28 años, lleva compitiendo mucho más. Y creo que esa experiencia junta con los dos nos va a hacer, creo que, competir un poquito más tranquilamente, llevar los partidos de otra manera, con otra madurez. Así que hace falta en partidos tan intensos y o ver los partidos de otra manera, también saber descifrarlos.
And let's not forget the biggest reason Tello made this move, the ranking. Because with Tino they were team number 11, but now with Di Nenno they're 6th. That means they avoid any of the top 8 pairs until quarterfinals. Because before they could face Tapia and Cuello, for example, as early as the round of 16. At the same time, Garrido and Libaak also benefit in that sense. Because they are the pair number 8 now, Tino's first time cracking that spot. Though they're just 114 points ahead of Edu and Alex Arroyo. Another big plus for Garrido and Libaak, less pressure. Because for whatever reason, Javi hasn't clicked when playing with higher ranked teammates like Chingoto or Di Nenno. But he felt better alongside Yango as someone his age and level. So in my opinion, Tino could give him that same vibe and he won't have the pressure to win at all. And not only that, because Tino's style is kinda like Yango's, aggressive and unpredictable. So with Tino, Javi has someone to take more of the attacking role, so Javi can take weight off his shoulders. Plus, Tino is a beast under pressure. How many of you remember the World Cup final? When the moment the Mansa leader, Tino, shows up. And that could be a game changer for Javi. So yeah, that's why I say both pairs are winning. But at the same time, these two pairs also have their weaknesses. So let's start with Garrido Libaak, their biggest issue, that left behind feeling. Because Tello and Di Nenno must be super motivated after making such a bold move. But what happens when your partner drops you? It's hard not to take it personal. Also, as far as I know, Javi and Tino don't know each other that well, so trust still needs to be built. Though Tello went through the same with Tino and ended up finding an amazing teammate and even a better guy. Another issue, well, they won't be able to train together too much because they live in different cities. And that is the opposite of Tello and Di Nenno, who are based close by. And one thing that Di Nenno and Garrido do have in common is changes. Especially Martín, who's changing coaches again, now teaming up with El Gordo Gutiérrez. In my opinion, so many coaching and partner changes mess with your identity as a player, and at the end you lose your edge. But Pablo, now the real question. If you had to pick one duo, who do you think will get better results? Well, if I had to answer that, I think Tello and Di Nenno will figure things out faster and become solid quarterfinal semifinal pair. But I think Garrido and Libaak, even if they're more inconsistent, could actually pull off a better peak result. But right now I don't see either pair winning a title, but a final. Well, in my opinion, yes. So what do you think about these new changes? Leave your opinion in the comments. Thank you so much for watching the video and see you in the next one.